Hello everybody, this is our first episode of a series of interviews with expats.
I enjoyed living in every country, and every country gave me something new. I recommend everybody should move at least to one different country in their life. At one point you're like, I don't want to do that no more.
My guest today is Felix Kerger.
Hello, how are you today?
Great to see you here. Felix is from Germany, from Darmstadt, but last 5 years he lived in Spain, where he met his wife from Eastern Africa, from Uganda. And now he's moving again to Ireland. So there are a lot of countries and cultures in his life journey. And I'm wondering, how does it feel to move? Is it a challenge for you, or if it's a pleasant and exciting experience?
It is both, it really depends. As an example, for me, moving from Germany to the UK was mostly pleasant because it was easy. I moved to a country that speaks English, where it's not the same as Germany, but it's a similar culture and it's a similar language. Then again, moving from the UK to Spain was a lot more of a challenge because I didn't speak Spanish. Even though a lot of people in Spain speak English, the whole bureaucracy and all the paperwork is only in Spanish. So luckily, I had the support of the company, which helped me and gave me like a relocation agent and helped with all the paperwork.
Oh, that's perfect. So all your moves were job related?
All my moves were job related, yes. I moved from Germany to the UK because I wanted to work for a specific company called Unity, which develops the technology for game development, which is my passion. And their office was in the UK. That was like the first move. I always knew I wanted to move to a different country. And that was a really good opportunity after finishing university and after having my own company to now have the move before having family, because moving with children is always a bit harder.
I think it is a dream of a lot of people to move from one country to another, and especially if it is provided by company. What is the secret how to find this kind of job?
I don't think there's a secret. The trick is, if you want to move countries, you should probably apply for international companies because they're prepared for that. They're used to helping if you need visa support and relocation support. So ideally, always, I would recommend try to get an international company because they will be able to help you. And the benefit is if you move to a country where you don't speak the language, if the company is international, most likely the company language is English, making your life easy.
So you have lived in Germany, in UK, in Spain so far. What are pluses and minuses of each country?
That's, for me, one of the fun parts of living in different countries. You realize there's no one country that is better than others. Every country has something really nice and something you don't enjoy. What I really liked in the UK, the people are very friendly. There's what I liked for me, there was this culture of board games, of going out, of having fun. Of course, then the big downside, as everybody says about the UK, is the weather. It's not as good as you would like to. And the country is very London focused. So everything is in London, and if you're somewhere else, you always have to go to London. Compared in Spain, amazing weather, sometimes too hot for my liking coming from Germany. Also very friendly people, a lot of good food. But it is kind of a cliche and it's not necessarily 100% true. But there's always a lot of bureaucracy and it's always a bit slower and a bit more complicated. And in Germany, again, kind of a cliche, but the bureaucracy works and it's a lot faster. So you know what's happening and you can do it.
Maybe because it is in your native language also.
It's also in my native language, but it's also a bit more structured, I would say, like in Spain. But in the end, I enjoyed living in every country, and every country gave me something new for myself. And I wouldn't say this is better than that. It's more like what you choose to prefer at that moment. Like as an example, in Germany, you get a lot more parental leave than in Spain. So if you want to have children, that's important for you, then maybe Germany is better. If you want to go to the beach and enjoy the nice weather and the really good Mediterranean food, then Spain would be a better choice. So it's not this is the best country, move here. It's choose what's important for you.
So it depends what you want right now in your current stage of life.
Yeah, but what I would say in general is I would always recommend everybody should move at least to one different country in their life. Because that's also something that I realized when moving away from Germany. I started to appreciate a lot of things in Germany that I didn't appreciate before because you're just used to them. And then you realize, hey, actually, this is something special.
For example, which things?
One thing I really enjoyed when I lived in the UK, which was during the Brexit, and also now here in Spain, is how boring German politics is. It's like very predictable. Everybody's trying to find a compromise. They're not fighting against each other, which was a nice contrast to the UK.
And what did every country change in you as a person?
Like, I think what the UK gave me first and foremost is because it was the first time I lived in a different country. It made me a lot more independent. And that's something you also have to realize. If you move to a different country, you lose your whole support network, which you have, like your families, your friends, the people you know. That doesn't exist in a different country, so you have to do everything by yourself. Of course, you can get help, but it changes. You have to become more independent. You do more things by yourself because you have to get new friends. And the only way to get new friends is to go out and meet people. That gave me the UK, and it was also the first like international company I worked for with a lot of travel. So I got to see the world, I got to enjoy the different things and like understand how the world works and how the business world works. And then coming to Spain, I think Spain made me lot more relaxed and appreciative of life. Like if it's a 2-hour lunch, it's a 2-hour lunch. It's nice, I'm going to enjoy the food. If you go out, it will probably will stay out until 4 or 5 a.m. because that's how it is in Spain. So I appreciate that. So yeah, it just keeps going. And then Spain gave me my wife, which is also very good.
Yeah, that's such an amazing romantic story to move to find your wife. How does it feel to be with a person from a different country, from different continent, from Eastern Africa? Is there a lot of cultural, I wouldn't say problems, but features which you were surprised when you start dating with her?
I mean, it's always, if you combine two cultures, which you do when you get together, you will end up with a very interesting mix of both cultures together. And similar to countries, there's no better or worse. It's just you mix what works for the two of you. And for us, it worked really well, and it aligns nicely. And now I have a whole new amount of food I can try. And one of the best things, I think, if you have like an intercultural couple, you now have 2 countries you can visit where at least one is a native. And that means you can experience a country a lot more intense than as a tourist. Because as a tourist, you go somewhere, you see the famous places. Like if you go to Barcelona, you see Sagrada Familia, you see maybe some Gaudi buildings, you see the beach. But if you come with a native, they can show you the different parts that the tourists don't go to. They speak the local language. It's the same if you go to Germany. I can show her a lot of things that she probably wouldn't see as a tourist. So it gets more interesting travel.
Yeah, it's like you're becoming part of society in some point because it's your new family. And this is something you learn from her family, from her traditions, which you started to do in your life or wanted to have in your family.
Coming from like myself, I'm a single child, and her family is bigger than my family. So I really enjoyed when we went there the first time for Christmas that all our family comes together at Christmas. Everybody was very friendly, inviting, and it's like my Christmases, which I also enjoy, with my parents. So we are 3. And at her Christmas, when we went to her country, I think it was like, I don't know, 24 people. So it was a lot bigger and a lot of games and more interactive. So I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, that's great. And why you're moving to Ireland now? What do you expect from that?
It's again a career move. So my company has a big office in Ireland. And for us to work more closely together and to build my team, we talked about it, and the idea was moving to Ireland would help with that because then I'm closer to the people I'm working with. And in this case, it's again a new country to experience, very different to Spain again. And one benefit there is everybody speaks English, so this will get easier. It will be a downgrade on the weather, but I'm really looking forward to seeing my 4th country I've lived in, and maybe the last one. Let's see. Because then at one point...
Because now you have family.
Now I have family, it gets harder. Also, like if at one point when you have children, you don't want to switch countries every few years for them. That might not be the best life. And at one point I also get sick of moving. As much fun as it is, the act of moving and packing everything into boxes, getting it transported, finding a new apartment, setting up all the bills, setting up the internet, unpacking is fun, especially if you're younger. But at one point you're like, I don't want to do that no more.
In your case, is it how big difference is in work in Germany and in back home in Spain? What is more profitable in the end?
Germany has quite a lot of high taxes. Spain in general has lower taxes, and with the back home law it's even a bit lower. It was definitely worth it. But then, at least for me, I had the difference of moving to Barcelona, where housing is really expensive. So I saved in tax, but I spent more in housing.
Okay. And what about Ireland? Is there any specifics there?
Something important, I think, for anybody who wants to move to a different country,
Mm-hmm.
try and save a bit of money, because when moving you always have to pay things which you didn't expect, and you have to pay money up front. Like the example, if you rent a place, you have to pay a security deposit.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes, as an example, in Ireland, when you move to Ireland, you first get taxed on the highest tax rate,
Mm-hmm.
and then at the end of the year it gets corrected. So you pay a few €1,000 extra tax, which you only get back at the end of the year.
Mm.
So at the beginning, your salary will be a lot less than what you expect.
Mm-hmm.
So always have a bit of money saved. Also, depending on the culture in the country, when I moved to the UK, where they have a culture that you have a reference from your previous landlord where you rented,
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't have that because I was coming from the UK,
Mm-hmm.
I could only get places where I had to pay 6 or 9 months rent in advance
Oh, wow.
as a security for them that I would pay my rent.
Mm-hmm.
So you suddenly have to pay €10,000 in advance to get an apartment.
Uh-huh. So it's
So saving money is important, because even so, if your company pays for everything, they don't pay for those things.
Do you have any advices for people who wants to move? How to make the move a step up? Because in your life, like you moved to work in a big company in UK, then you moved to work in another country, and you met your wife there. How to develop during the moves?
I'm not sure that is something you can plan, and I would definitely recommend not moving countries because you want to improve your career or you want to find a wife or a partner. I would always move the country because it's an interesting challenge. It will help you to develop,
Mm-hmm.
and then the rest will follow, because it's never works out, especially in my experience. Like, career is really hard to plan,
Mm-hmm.
and to say I'm going to move to this country to improve my career can work in a few cases, but I would say not in a lot of cases. So rather move either because you already have a job offer that will help you,
Mm-hmm.
or because it's a country that interests you, not for I want to improve my career.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Felix. It was a very interesting conversation, and I wish you good luck and to find something else, to discover something new in your next move.
Thank you for having me. It was a pleasant chat.